Chapter 31. And quote, we will not see eye to eye on this matter, I fear, and quote, he sighs heavily, shaking his head. I shrug and keep walking, picking up my pace to get back to Merrick a little sooner. No matter how much he gives me the silent treatment, I crave his presence when I'm not around him. Maybe it's the supposed second chance mate bond her claims we have. Or perhaps it's because I find I feel safe with only him. Either way, I want this encounter to be over. And quote, I suppose not. And quote, I frown, my eyes scanning the shadows of the trees along the east, looking for Percy. It would be nice to know where exactly he is, to give him a signal that I want him to come whisk me away. And quote, your friend is still there. I can sense his presence, and quote, Caspian says, without looking at me. And quote, he is lucky that we allow him to remain here. We could have him dispatched, and you wouldn't be able to do anything about it, and quote, we wouldn't be here if we couldn't bring him and touch him, and I will rage a war. And quote, I snark at him a little sassier than I should. And quote, I don't recall even inviting your kind here in the first place. And quote, he retorts. This king swaps moods quicker than a woman trying on a dress for her first date. And quote, and yet we found an invitation. You don't find that odd? And quote, I ask him, and he refuses to look at me. And quote, I'm not sure I understand what you mean. And quote, Caspian mutters, sounding bored. And quote, someone at this event wants us to be here. And quote, I shrug. And quote, my guess is the person who is trying to hurt me, and Merrick has ulterior motives. And quote, it is possible. And quote, he shrugs, sounding disinterested before he releases a large huff. And quote, well, Letty, it was an interesting interaction, but I suppose I should be off. And quote, can I ask you something? And quote, I ask, stopping him by stepping in his way. He places his hands on his hips and looks me over with a curious gaze before nodding and rolling his eyes. And quote, you may ask, but I do not promise to answer. And quote, he bites out, making sure I understand he is in control of this conversation, which means I need to tread lightly. And quote, why can't you have a mate? And quote, I ask, and he laughs. Caught off guard by my question, I notice the way the water ripples in tune with his melodic tune. And I realize that is just a small semblance of his true force, his real power. And quote, sirens do not have mates, like unicorns or witches. And quote, he explains. And quote, werewolves and lycans are the favored of the species, always the loyal one, and you are all rewarded with a love that cannot be refuted. And quote, I snort. And quote, I've seen it be refuted. Rejection seems to be a rising trend in our community. And quote, yes, I suppose you have, considering the story you told us at dinner a week ago. What I mean to say is that it is a soul tie. Something that goes beyond love. It's a completion of your soul. Without it, you are only half a person. And quote, I furrow my brows in thought. And quote, so then, what do you call your version of a mate? And quote, he shrugs and looks up at the sky for a moment. And quote, we use the term mate as well, but it does not have the same meaning. Ours is a partner. Someone we chose as we think they will strengthen us and make us wiser. Mates, for us, is a strategy, one that often ends in multiple mates. And quote, my brows knit together in thought. And quote, and you have chosen not to take a mate. And quote, I ask him, and he nods his head yes. And quote, And why is that? Do you not need to have a mate? He chuckles and shakes his head. And quote, I have many nieces and nephews who would love to have my throne, and quote, he says. And quote, but that doesn't mean that they are suited for it. And you avoided the real question. And quote, I say, quirking a brow. True, many of them are not. But I am too old now for a child, so I will choose from them one day. And no, I do not need a mate, as I do not plan to have a child at my age. I give him a credulous stare. Does he seriously think a mate is just a strategic act? One that means you have to have a kid? And quote, having a mate isn't just to have a kid. It's about having a home inside your house. Somewhere you can go when you are lost inside your head. Someone who keeps you safe just by holding you close. And quote, I watch his lips twitch as he looks off into the distance. Wistfully. And quote, I know. And quote, he whispers as if he is speaking to a memory, and I watch him. Curiously, I let him dream in his head for a moment, thinking of the other species and their way to find a mate, or their own version of a mate. Caspian is so right. How truly lucky we are to have a fated mate that we can know is meant to be ours and not someone else's. Not that I can tell if I have that with Merrick yet, but the thought is truly a thrilling one. Then I think about Lauren. How she was mated to Merrick and yet she still chose a vampire over him and our kind. Can cross-species children happen from time to time? I mean, if Lauren and Johannes were lovers, surely they could procreate. And quote, you look inquisitive again. And quote, Caspian says, sounding amused. And quote, I'm just curious. I admit. And quote, I did not know there were any other species out there, let alone this many. Is it possible for a werewolf to mate with any of them? And quote, I ask. And quote, no. And quote, he says, quickly, like he is trying to shut the topic down. But I won't let this go that easily. I am intrigued by the thought there could be thousands of little hybrids running around the world. And quote, no, it's not possible. Or no, it's not allowed. And quote, I ask, making sure to slide my eyes to him, studying his face, hoping to tell if he lies to me or not. And quote, it is not allowed. And quote, he says, refusing to look at me. And quote, but Lauren and Johannes. And quote, I say, and he heaves a heavy sigh. And quote, vampires cannot have children. Not with a species that is not their own. And quote, he explains. And quote, vampires can choose whatever mate they want because there is no risk of a born hybrid from them. And quote, has it happened with any other two species before? And quote, I ask, growing more curious by the moment. And quote, yes. And quote, he sighs, pinching the bridge of his nose, as though he is annoyed with all the questions. But I have no plans to stop until he asks or walks away. And quote, how many times? And quote, I ask, getting excited, and he looks away, his body growing stiff, and the air around him turning chilled. And quote, once. And quote, he says, clearing his throat and looking away from me. And quote, and what happened to him? And quote, I ask, and he clears his throat, stopping where he is before he looks around and then steps into my personal space. And quote, why? Do you wish to create a hybrid child? And quote, his words are harsh, full of a thinly veiled anger. And quote, what? No. I will carry my mate's children. I am just curious. And quote, I try to explain. And quote, you are too curious. He hisses, again his eyes darting around and his voice barely a whisper. And quote, Maybe you are too evasive, and quat, I shrug and he sucks on his teeth. And quat, she died, and quat, he clears his throat. And quat, it was a girl, and she was killed. A hybrid is against council rules. They cannot exist. A hybrid would be too powerful and unpredictable, and quat, I feel a tightness in my chest at his words. The way he tries to hide his emotions, hiding behind his annoyance with me and anger. Caspian is the king, and has been for a very long time. If a hybrid was killed, it was his order that killed her. It would have to be. His anger isn't anger at all. It's guilt. And it makes me sick to think he could ever order someone to death over something that wasn't their own fault. And quat, how old was she? And quat, I whisper, needing to know the level of evil I am dealing with. I have to see if this handsome older man from the sea is truly a sea monster or just an old lonely man from the depths of the ocean. He looks away, a mist in his eyes. And quat, she was 10. And quat, my mouth goes dry, my throat aching from resisting the urge to cry. Who does that? Who kills a child for being born? What assholes kill someone because they are afraid someone might be more powerful than them? And quat, you killed, and quat, I pause, swallowing roughly, and quat, a child, a little girl, and quat, the council has rules, and quat, he clips out, and quat, this council is bullshit, and quat, I growl, and quat, a child. Do you hear yourself? You killed a child because her parents loved each other, and quat, Caspian turns his grey eyes on me, a hurricane lashing through his dark irises as the water to my side floats. His eyes flash like lightning striking through the sky as he seems to fight for control of his emotions. Or power? And quat, your kind killed her, and quat, he roars, his voice echoing through the trees, and I see Percy as he moves swiftly to my side. Then a warm hand wraps into mine and tugs me back. I look up to see Merrick, his eyes black as he stares down Caspian with a raging fury. And quat, our kind saved her, and quat, he growls. My eyes grow wide and snap up to him in shock. And quat, lies, and quat, Caspian steps closer, the water moving forward with him. And quat, I have proof, and quat, Merrick says, standing tall, unwavering. And quat, I have proof, and when you are ready to discuss letting us back on the council, I will share it all with you, and quat. Then he turns his back to the still raging Caspian, pulling me along beside him, taking us back up to the house. And quat, Merrick, what was that about? And quat, I hiss at him and he slides me a look but refuses to say anything until we make it back to the bedroom. And quat, there is something I need to tell you. And quat, he sighs, pulling me down to sit on the bed next to him. And quat, and it might be difficult for you to believe, and quat. Chapter 32. And quat, Merrick, POV. And quat, okay, what do you have to tell me? And quat, Colette asks. She turns her body to face me, a look of worry on her brow as he tilts her head and prepares herself. The only problem is I don't know that this the right time to tell her, to explain to her that the whole reason she is here with me is entirely because she is the one and only hybrid to ever exist. My choosing Leslie as a mate was no coincidence. I had every intention of leaving her before the ceremony and kidnapping Colette if need be. Fate clearly had other plans, but the fact remains. Colette is my proof that the only ever hybrid was saved by my family. Not only is she that hybrid, but the only child of Caspian. She takes my hand, turning it over so my palm is facing up, and then she gently lifts it, pressing it to her lips. There's no fighting the shiver that runs through me, the desire that has been there and doesn't seem to go away rages against my barriers. I have thrown up time and time again to protect myself. And quat, you can tell me later, if it's easier, and quat, she whispers. And quat, you seem exhausted and tomorrow you have the second meeting. And quat, I stare at this timid, beautiful woman and my heart aches. Guilt riddles me, every day wreaking havoc on my heart and in my mind and my lycan. My lycan fights me tooth and nail to claim what is ours, what we have hidden. A way to keep us in check. I want to speak to her, to tell her everything, but trust is as elusive as fucking smoke. The moon goddess has failed me once before. And though I punished myself for my part in everything, the way I turned a blind eye to Lauren's misgivings in the name of the mate bond, I don't think I can trust the moon goddess again, and that makes it impossible to know if I can trust in Colette the way I yearn to. And quat, I try to speak but I say nothing, only staring at her, hating myself more with every passing second because I am weak. So fucking weak and, though I tricked her into the oath, even though I don't deserve her, I crave her. My soul begs to be one with hers, constantly fighting me, tearing at my conscience. Shit. I don't know what to do with her anymore. Shit. I know I have to tell her something. I can't just hide from he forever like I have for the last week. And quat, I am ready to hear what you have to say about Grady, swallowing roughly as I allow her to play with my hand before entwining our fingers. She watches me closely, assessing my response, waiting for me to pull away from her like I always do. And quat, are you sure? And quat, she whispers, making sure her eyes meet mine, trying to pull the truth from inside of me. And quat, yes. And quat, I nod. And quat, you can't run off or get mad. And quat, she says, again waiting for me to run away like I always seem to do. And quat, I won't. And quat, I assure her, but she looks skeptical. Colette sucks in a deep breath and then nods. And quat, Grady was my best friend. My only friend. He would sneak me food and comfort me when I would cry. I had a crush on him. No, I loved him. She pauses to look at me as I fight my anger. Every bit of jealousy in my body looks for a way out, but I bite it back, forcing it away and focusing on the woman who is here, with me, holding my hand. And quat, I am fine. And quat, I assure her through gritted teeth. I notice a small smile tugging at her lips, but she nods and continues, anyway. And quat, I loved him, but my feelings were one-sided. Everyone knew it, including me. He slept around with girls and stuff, but when he slept with Leslie, it hurt the most because she always took such joy in causing me pain. I wanted nothing to do with him after he rejected me. It was still so fresh when I agreed to be your mate. I was still mourning, and I was trying to do it alone, without you seeing. And quat, that was wrong of me. And quat, I admit. And quat, I see that now. And quat, if we are second chance mates like you said we are. And quat, we are. And quat, I state firmly, and she gives me a tight-lipped smile. And quat, trust goes both ways, Merrick, so I hope you can forgive me for being skeptical of that claim. Her words are brutal and blunt, but it's what I need. It's the delivery I need. It feels truthful and honest, and I have to feel that. No, I need to. I understand. I struggle to get the words out, my ribs aching from restraining myself and fighting my nature to argue back, to make a point, or to let my anger take over. And quote, when Grady showed up, I already knew I wanted to be with you. Sure, I had made you a promise and I keep promises, but I fell for you after the second week and then I feel hard, so damn hard, and knowing about your past, it let me see you in a different light. I can be patient, Merrick, but it won't change my mind. I chose you and our pack. I chose you the day of our mating ceremony and I chose you over Grady, and even now I'm choosing you again even when you make me so angry I cry. Her words feel like an axe to the chest, splitting me open like a soft log and tearing me in two. There is so much to hear in there, but all I can do is feel it. She has not tried to run from me, even when I reveal my insecurities, even when I am acting a fool. When I was with Lauren, I felt drawn to her because of the bond. It was only the bond, but with Colette it is different. My heart is nearly bursting and it feels like I am going to burn up just sitting here. And quote, I love you and quote. My eyes shoot up in shock, the words tumbling from my lips before I can even have the moment to think about what is coming out. Did I just tell her that? And quote, what? And quote, she gasps. Her eyes grow misty and she searches my face for the lie, one I realize she won't find. Because damn it, somehow between my lack of trust and my temper tantrums and secrets, I feel in love. Not because of a bond or because it would make our reign easier. I fell in love with her because of her patience, her kindness and how gentle she is, and that growing snark adds she finds herself. And quote, I love you, and quote, I stutter again. The air in the room feels thin, my cheeks warm. As I grow embarrassed with every passing second, she stares at me. Then she stands, moving in front of me. Colette reaches out, dragging me up with her as she wraps her arms around my neck. And quote, I swear to you, I slapped Grady and told him to leave. I did not kiss him back. Ask me too. Tell you the truth under the oath and I will tell you the same thing. And quote, my lips slam into hers, unable to stop myself as my heart thuds painfully against my ribs, begging to leap into her hands and let her have control of it. I slide my arms around her back, pulling her as close to me as possible before gliding my tongue over her lips, begging for entry, needing to taste her. Colette tilts her chin up, her mouth parting as she hums in delight. I seize the moment, mingling my tongue with hers as my stomach flips, the butterflies turning into a tumultuous hurricane. This isn't a kiss of passion, it's one for survival, one to hide in, as I push everything that should keep us apart to the back of my mind and let my heart and lycan win. He adds to the hunger that rises low in me, and she rolls her hips into my body. She rises on her tiptoes, trying to better reach me, so I reach down, cupping her upper thighs as I drag her up my body, showing her what she has done with me. Her frame shivers as she whimpers and kisses me deeper, her fingers tangling in my hair, dragging me closer to her. My conscience tries to creep up. She should know who she is before I take anything further. She should know all the things I know about her. Then one of her hands releases me and caresses its way down my chest and she drags it across the top of my dress. Slacks. And quote, fuck, and quote. I grumble against her lips. I spin her, using one hand to keep her pressed to me as I lean down and crawl onto the bed, then gently lay her beneath me. Her hair sprawls out like a halo around her head and I suck in sharply. She is absolutely stunning. Then she pouts and I realize just how lost I am. I am a man lost at sea, and she is the siren leading me home. And quote, Don't stop, please, and quat. She whimpers, her hands gripping my hips and pulling me down to her, and quat. Please stop thinking and just live in this moment, and quat. There is no denying her anything. Not now that I realize I love her. It's funny how I thought who she is or what she is was so important to the council. I was so damn wrong. Who she is my Luna. What she is mine. And I am done denying us both what we need. And quat, Colette and quat, my body hums and my stomach is full of butterflies as Merrick kisses me, his body pressing into me from above as I snake my hands up his neck and into his hair. Our tongues tangle in a glorious battle for the control we both lack. I have wanted more from him, all of him for what feels like so damn long, and now that I am getting more from him, I fear I may die if I don't get every piece. His hand roams to my waistline, teasing the hem of my top with his thumb before it slips under, and his palm slides up my skin, teasing the bottom of my bralette. I roll my hips, trying to encourage him, making him touch me more, explore more. He smiles against my lips, and I break away, pressing my head back and looking up at him, making sure he is here, that he isn't going to tear away from me. And quat, I'm not going anywhere. And quat, he whispers, his lips finding my earlobe before he kisses my neck, slowly peppering my skin with his lips. His thumb slips under my bra, brushing over my sensitive skin, and I shiver under his touch, my eyes closing. As I gasp, his weight shifts and his body moves from me as he goes up on his knees and reaches down, tugging my shirt up. I arch my back, giving him the wiggle room as he pulls it up over my head. Merrick bites his lip, his green eyes flickering with hints of black as he drinks me in, and as if moving in slow motion, he reaches for his shirt and shucks it off in one fell swoop. His hands fan out over my stomach, feeling my skin as he moves them up, and then he lifts the base of my bralette and shimmies it up over my head. He twists it tight, capturing my wrists as my eyes grow wide in shock, and he presses them into the bed above my head. And quat, better than I could have ever imagined, and quat, he groans. His words make me feel sexy and wanted for the first time in my life. And I smile, happy to have pleased him. Then he leans down, his mouth at my throat as me nips and kisses down to my collarbone before moving to my right breast. He captures me in pleasure with his warm mouth, drawing out a moan while his other hand holds my arms still. He moves his legs one at a time between my thighs without so much as a releasing me from his glorious onslaught of torture to my body. And quat, Marique, and quat. I whine, needing something more, anything more than this. He chuckles, releasing me and moving to my other breast again, making me whimper as I roll my hips, looking for him. Need the friction to satiate the burning growing between my legs where I know I need him. Too many times he has started something and then pulled away, and that fear is heavy in my stomach. And quat, and quat, he hums, the vibration from his voice making my mouth fall open with a needy cry for more. And quat, I want to touch you. And quat, I murmur, my eyes closed, my body shivering with need. I have to feel his chest, his stomach, his back as it flexes while he explores me. I want to explore him. Hell, I need to learn every sound I can elicit from him. He moves from my body, his lips finding mine as he presses down on me, untwisting my bralette from my hands, and like a magnet I find his bare back, my hands running along him, committing to memory every groove of muscle, every dip where he flexes and strains to hold himself back. This is my first time. My first Makeout session. First time anyone has touched me like this, and if I have my way, my first. Everything. I slip my hands down his back, dragging them around to the front of his pants. My fingers shake, trying to undo his belt buckle, and he reaches down, stopping me. And what, Colette, and what? His voice is a warning and a question, daring me to keep going, telling me exactly what will happen if I don't stop. There is a glint of danger in his eyes, a feral side of him I want to see, no need to experience, and I want it now. One shirk, tilting my head to the side as I use my free hand to grip his and remove it from my other. Then, without breaking eye contact, I undo his belt buckle and slide it out, tossing it to the side. His lips twitch, a flurry of excitement taking over his reservations, and he returns the favor, reaching down and sliding the yoga pants down and under my ass before he moves off of me and takes them with him. Once again, his eyes scan me as he sighs, content. His deft hands finish what I had started, unbuttoning his pants. As he watches me with a glimmer, he slides them down his legs and I bite back a moan when he stands, completely nude before me. Old Colette would panic now. She would hide away and close her eyes. But not the new me. Not Luna Letty. Instead, I push myself up, inching to the edge of the bed, where he stands, and I take hold of him as he shivers in my grip. Then I slide my hand down, quick and gently, before doing it again, faster, and reach out, playing with my breast, twisting and pulling until he has me in a tighter grip. His fingers twitch as they cusp my breast in his grip. I let go of him, inching backward, my eyes flickering between his eyes and the part of him I am both nervous and excited for. He licks his lips like he is chasing down his prey as he crawls onto the bed, pressing my knees apart as he stares down and groans. And what? I couldn't have dreamed up a more beautiful sight, my little Luna. And what? He growls. My heart soars at the knowledge he has dreamed of this moment like I have. Merrick then leans over me, his hand coming to my throat, making my heart race and my mind run all sorts of places from panic to need. Then he drags it down, stopping between my legs as he presses his lips to mine. Merrick rubs his finger over me and my nerve endings explode, my mouth falling open in surprise as he chuckles and does it again. My body jolts in delight as I roll against him, seeking more, needing more. And what? I want you, and what? I whisper. And what? I'm ready, and what? He tuts, shaking his head. And what? Not yet. I don't want to hurt you. I have done so much of that already. And what? He presses his lips to mine, his fingers moving in a pattern more regularly. He consumes my moans as I buck and writhe against him, looking for more as my body craves something while simultaneously feeling like I can't handle a single moment more. Then a finger enters me and I cease breathing. His thumb circles the outside while he gently removes his finger, only to plunge it in again and again. Pleasure mounts and I can no longer even remember how to kiss him back as my head presses into the mattress, my breathing erratic and breathy. And what? Shit. Merrick. PP please, I am ready. And what? He gently removes his hand, rising onto his knees with a pleased grin on his lips. Then he grips my hips and drags my ass flush to him. When he leans down, his full erection presses against my swollen and throbbing middle, and I can feel his blood pulsing through it. He is just as turned on and needy as I am. He settles back a little, moving over me and lining us up as he presses his elbows to the side of me and kisses my lips. When he pulls back, His eyes meet mine and I feel him pressing at my entrance. I thrust my hips, unable to wait a second longer, and gasp as he glides in. He groans, his mouth finding mine. As he presses in slowly, there is a slight sting, and I wince as he tears away from my lips, worry dotting his brow. My hands fly out in a panic, fearing he will stop. And quat, no, no, no. I am fine. And quat, I rasp out. He presses in deeper and my eyes close, relishing every second, trying to be sure I remember this moment. Once I feel his pelvis pressed to mine, he waits for a moment, then he draws back and slowly he does it again. Each time, his movements are faster, a little harder. And I roll my hips, meeting his every thrust. He grunts, his mouth finding me as I rub my sensitive parts against him every time he pushes in fully. The fire builds, my eyes growing starry as I stutter in my breathing. My body feels like it is spiraling out of control as I dig my nails into his back, need him closer, needing something more. He pulls back, his hips still driving into me as he looks down at me, captivating me and making it impossible to look away from him. He reaches down between us, using his thumb as he rubs over my little nub and I explode. My hands and feet tingle, my body convulsing against him as warmth fills me from within and I cry out. He rubs me, making me feel everything with more intensity as my vision dots. And quat, Merrick, and quat, I gasp. As my body finally calms down, he stops, reaching down and lifting me onto him. He doesn't pull out of me. Instead he holds me close, him on his knees and me straddling him as he comes down from his moment. 2. He peppers me with kisses, along my neck, across my shoulder and down again to my breast. Suckling on them for a moment as my head rolls back, riding the little waves of pleasure before the exhaustion settles in. Then he grips my legs, keeping me where I am as he crawls to the edge of the bed and carries me to the bathroom. I watch in awe as he places me on the counter, grabbing a towel. As he cleans me up, then himself. And quat, I'm going to draw us a bath, and quat, he says, turning on the water and pouring in a concoction of items before he scoops me up and settles into the bath with my back pressed against his chest. Do I need a bath? And quat, I ask, my head falling to his shoulder. My eyes grow heavy. And quat, you are going to be sore otherwise. He whispers into my car. And quat, Merrick. And quat, I ask him, trying like hell to stay awake. And quat, yeah. And quat, why didn't you mark me? And quat, I ask, feeling a little disheartened that he didn't think to mark me. I feel his body tense and he releases a heavy sigh. And quat, shh, rest. And quat, he murmurs. And quat, we can talk about that when you wake up. It may be the exhaustion speaking, but it feels like he is trying to avoid the subject. Instead, I choose to relish this moment. We can dissect his reasoning another day, I suppose. Chapter 34. And quat, Merrick, the sun has been up for a few hours, gently creeping through the window as the soft breeze brushes the curtains aside. Ordinarily I wouldn't sleep with a window open, not after what happened with Colette and the Dreamweavers, but this is a magic-free zone. No one, not even the assholes who are lurking behind these mansion walls, can use magic without being detected. Caspian himself will have to log his magic use from last night. Colette stirs, a sweet groan passing her plush lips as her hands glide up the satin sheets above her head. As she stretches, the sage fabric slips down, exposing her supple breast and my lycan pants, begging for more of her. He is raging about not having marked her when we had the chance. But no matter how much he tries to force that, I refuse to mark her. Not until she knows everything. I have fucked up in every way when it comes to this stunning woman, and I want her to know exactly who and what she is getting when she agrees to my mark. Yes, she is stuck with me, but I have taken every option from her, and the guilt is eating me alive more than my need to show the world she is mine and initiate that final step in our relationship. One that is rocky at best half the time. Her head turns to me, her eyes blinking away the sleepiness as the sun filters in, landing on her exposed chest, and I grin at her. With steady hands, I reach out, stroking her cheek, dragging my index finger along her jawline and down her throat. One paws at her collarbone, making eye contact as she arches her back up toward my touch and nibbles on her lip. She is asking for more, looking for that touch as she reaches for the blanket. My stomach flops and I reach down to stop her from covering herself. And quat, don't hide from me. And quat, I whisper as I slide down the bed, my hand brushing over her flesh and making her shiver. And quat, don't you ever hide from me. And quat, I'm not the one who is always hiding. And quat, she murmurs, her eyes closing and her words breathy as I move closer, pressing my nose to her neck and kiss her soft skin. She makes a very solid point. She is always the one trying, chasing, and waiting for me. But if she knew what I knew, if she knew just how well I know her, would she finally pull away? Would that be the last straw for her? Or would she remain constant, patient, and waiting like she always has with me? I cover her breast with my hand, kneading her gently, before twisting and playing with her alert skin. Damn, she feels perfect in my hands, my arms, every way. She gasps and my mouth finds hers like a magnet snapping into place. I swallow her sexy little noises, feeding off of them as they fuel the throbbing erection pressing into her side. She reaches up, her arms snaking under my arms and up my back as she tugs at me, leading me over her. Then she spreads her legs with no prompting, and I grin against her lips. Colette is just as needy as I am, just as addicted. Her nails dig into my flesh, making me groan as I stool between her legs, hovering just mere centimeters away. I can feel the heat of her, the way she is already beyond ready for me as I press my hips down, hissing at the feel of her as she whimpers in delight. I roll my hips, her hands sliding down my back and gripping onto my ass as she meets my movements with her own, just as someone knocks on the door. Colette freezes, her eyes going wide as she tears from my lips and looks over as if someone is going to come in. The knock sounds again, and she furrows her brow, looking up at me, lost for what to do. So I glide out and back in, making her worried eyes roll back as she gasps. The knock sounds again, this time angrier, more frantic, but I'm too lost in my Luna to give a rat's ass about what the hell is happening. And quat, Alpha, and quat, Percy calls out in such a way I stop mid-thrust and snap my eyes to the door. Colette pushes up onto her elbows, her eyes following mine. And quat, something is wrong. And quat, she whispers. And quat, shit, and quat, I grumble, swooping down and pressing a chaste kiss to her lips. And quat, get dressed. And quat, I jump up from her, hating leaving the warmth of her arms and the softness of her body as I slip on a pair of boxer briefs and the first pants I can find. Colette grabs a handful of clothing, her hands shaking as she rushes to the bathroom. And quat, what is it? Perk, and quat, I ask, yanking the door open and catching my bloodied gamma. And quat, I'm not healing. And quat, he says, looking up at me through a swollen bloody eye. His arm is tucked over his stomach as he stumbles into me, trying to remain upright but failing as I catch him. And quat, holy shit, what the fuck happened? And quat, I ask, dragging him into the room and laying him on the couch. And quat, I think someone poisoned me. And quat, he says, his breathing labored. And quat, and beat you? And quat, I ask, furrowing my brow. And quat, they beat me up. And quat, he asks, sounding shocked before his eyes rolling to the back of his head. I slap his cheek gently, trying to keep him conscious. And quat, stay with me, Percy. Come on. And quat, I whisper, looking around for something. Anything to help with what I have no fucking clue. And quat, Colette. And quat, the bathroom door flies open, Colette appearing as she yanks a shirt over her head and sprints across the room to me. Her goes white as she looks down at her gamma and friend, then up at me. Face. And quat, what the hell happened? And quat, she asks me. And quat, I don't know. He says he isn't healing. That he was poisoned. And quat, Luna Letty. And quat, Percy says in a sigh of relief. And quat, you are safe? And quat, of course I am. And quat, she whispers, reaching out to take his black and blue hand. And quat, how could I not be when I have you as a shadow? He tries to smile, but it makes him wince. And quat, I need you to tell me what happened. Do you think you can do that? And quat, I ask him. And he winces as he tries to swallow. And quat, can try. And quat, he murmurs, his words growing slurred. Shit, I don't know what the fuck to do. Who the fuck I can go to with this? There isn't a single fucking person here I trust. And quat, I will go get someone to help, Colette says, turning toward the door. I catch her wrist, unable to let her go. With Percy down, she has no one to be with her when I am not around. There is no one protecting her. She cannot leave my sight or Percy's. Not now. Not until I have backup. And quat, you stay. I will be back in 2 minutes. Do not open the door for anyone. Do you understand me? And quat, I give her a grave look and she furrows her brow but nods. And quat, of course. And quat, she whispers. I move to walk away, but she touches my back, and when I look back at her, she has tears in her eyes before she jumps into my arms and presses a kiss to my lips. And quat, please be safe and fast. And quat, she whispers, stepping back. I give her a nod, my heart pounding as I exit the door and move down the hall. When I turn the corner, I saw someone bent down, looking at droplets of blood on the floor before looking up at me. Brent stands, taking 2 steps closer, taking in my topless state and, I'm sure, disheveled hair. And quat, who is injured? And quat, he asks, and it feels almost genuine. If I didn't know the wizard, I would think he actually cared. And quat, none of your fucking business. And quat, I growl, trying to move around him. And quat, if someone was injured while here, it's everyone's business. And quat, he grits out. I sigh heavily, needing to find Caspian. I need his healers or to alert him to what happened on his watch. Then it hits me, Caspian was the last one with Percy last night. And he slipped up with his magic. Angry with my people. He is the only person who could do something like this and get away with it. And quat, someone attacked my gamma. And quat, I tell Brent and his eyes widen. And quat, attacked. And quat, he asks, shocked. And quat, how? And quat, I don't know. but I need to find a healer to help him. His healing is not working. And quote, take me to him. And quote, Brent says, pushing past me. And quote, I don't trust you. And quote, I scoff and he heaves a heavy sigh. And quote, look, I am well aware you have no reason to trust anyone here, but I am the best healer in this fucking mansion and you know it, I swear on my child's life, one only want to help. I chew on the inside of my cheeks, trying to decide what to do. If I trust him and I realize this isn't a trust issue, this is a saving my gamma issue. And quote, fine, I grit out, moving around him and leading him back to the room. I push the door open to see Colette trying to wake Percy up with panic in her eyes. And quote, Colette, come with me. Brent, if you let him die, I will come for your fucking coven, and I think you know well enough that I will not hesitate. Space, we are enemies, but here we can be cordial, can't? He frowns. And quote, I know what your kind call you, Merrick. Outside of this spac, well. And quote, let's hope for your sake we can. And quote, I growl, rushing out the door, Colette struggling to keep up. And quote, Merrick, where are we going? And quote, she asks. And quote, to have a chat with Caspian. And quote, I tell her, my voice dripping in anger as we close in on his room after what feels like hours of walking. His door opens as we approach and he turns to look at us, shock on his brow before he crosses his arms over his chest. And quote, I was just coming to speak with you. And quote, what did you do to him? And quote, I yell. He knots his brows together. And quote, what are you talking about? And quote, you attacked my gamma. Now his healing isn't working. He is in our room bleeding out. And quote, I didn't do shit to your gamma. And quote, he retorts. And quote, then prove it. And quote, Colette says with a glare. And quote, prove it. Wasn't you? Fix him or call a meeting to figure it out. And quote, I don't owe your kind shit. And quote, he hisses, then tilts his head. And quote, but if you will show me your proof that you saved my daughter right now, no strings attached, I might be more willing to help you. My stomach tightens, my eyes sliding to Colette, who looks at me, waiting for me to decide what to do, to support me in any decision I make. I reach out, gently tugging her to my chest as I stroke her cheek, pushing the hair out of her face before I press my forehead to hers for a moment, trying to extend this moment. And quote, no matter what happens next, know that I truly do love you. And quote, I whisper. She pulls back, looking up at me, confused. And quote, I don't understand. And quote, she whispers. Then I cup her cheeks and press a kiss to the tip of her nose. And quote, she has been right here the whole time. And quote, I say, not daring to look away from her as realization dawns on her face. And quote, Colette. Blood drains from my face, my hands instantly going cold as I lick my lips and try to form any coherent words possible, but nothing comes out. I shake my head, fighting the tears as they beg for release. This can't be happening. Not now. Not after I just gave him every part of me. Merrick is lying to me, or he is lying to Caspian, and I can't see well enough through my blurry eyes to tell which is it. And quote, is this a joke? And quote, I hear Caspian ask, anger and pain lacing his voice as it breaks. And quote, no. And quote, Merrick's voice is clear and resolute. My knees go weak, my hand flying to my chest, clutching at my shirt, looking for reprieve, hoping it will let oxygen in as I try to suck in air in huge gulps. Warm hands cup my cheeks, smoothing hair from my face as his voice echoes in the background and I slump to my knees. And quote, Letty, I need you to focus. And quote, his voice is firm and full of concern. And quote, focus on my voice. And quote, my hands fly up, finding his wrists, yanking them away from my face as I turn away from him. And quote, I don't want to hear your voice. And quote, I hiss at him. And quote, I needed to protect you. And quote, he tries to tell me as some sort of excuse, but if he had trusted me, if he had given me the fucking time of day, he would have known. He could have told me anything, including this. I force myself up on shaky legs, wiping at the tears that seem to escape despite me telling them to stay. There is no slowing down my heart rate as I glare into Merrick's eyes. Guilt and remorse swim in his perfect green orbs and I know there is no lie there. It feels like a 1,000-pound weight is crushing my chest as I try to gasp for air. Never have I ever felt so helpless, so lost in my entire life. And quote, she is my daughter, you are sure? Caspian whispers, hopeful. I turn to look at him, the tears flowing free. When I see the glimmer of tears in his own eyes, my hurt morphs into rage. What asshole leaves his daughter, lets his mate die? And quote, you are not my father. And quote, I hiss, taking a step away from him. As well. And quote, he is. And quote, Merrick says softly. I shoot him a glare, my chest heaving. And quote, I don't believe you. And quote, it feels like I am being pulled between two forces, my body being torn into two, my heart rivaling my soul, and there is no stopping this agony. And quote, we will talk about this later, Colette. Right now I need a healer in our room to take care of my gamma who needs immediate care. Brent is currently there taking care of him, and I am not comfortable with this situation. And quote, yes, of course. And quote, Caspian says, not saying anything else as he lifts his hand and snaps. Someone shuffles to him and he whispers in their ear, receiving a bow, and the man rushes off, motioning for others to follow him. And quote, we should go see him. And quote, Merrick says, reaching out for my hand. I slap it away, taking a step back from him. And quote, I don't want to be near you. And quote, I growl, and he frowns, but seems to accept my choice. And quote, then I will leave you with your father, I mean with Caspian. And quote, he looks at the King of Sirens and then back at me, a solemn look on his face. And quote, I know you have no desire to forgive me. I understand that, but you are still my Luna. And quote, I watch as he disappears, both needing his arms around me and simultaneously hating the idea of him ever touching me again. If what he is saying is true, if Caspian is my real father, he has taken a potentially beautiful reunion and shattered it with deceit and trickery. Does Merrick truly care about me, or was I his pawn all along? Even last night, our beautiful moment I couldn't wait to share with him is called into question. Was he hoping that, by screwing me, I would cling to him and not be angry? Or did he care about my feelings in all of this at all? I want to think about Percy, to be with him, but being near Merrick makes me feel physically ill. Caspian's face appears before mine and I blink away the tears as he reaches out, looking for me to take his hand. I scowl at him, crossing my arms over my chest instead, and he frowns before he nods in understanding. A frown tugs at the corner of his lips. Then he sighs heavily, striding away from me before turning back around. And quote, Do you remember me? And quat, he asks. Hopefully, and I shake my head now, my brows pulling together as I try to recall anything about him. And quat, no, and quat, I tell him honestly. And quat, truthfully, all I have of my mother are dreams I thought were nightmares. Always her leaving me as I chase her through a marsh area, only to be abandoned and never see her again. And quat, she left you, and quat, he asks, his brows rising like the action surprises him. And quat, yes, and quat, I say before sighing heavily. And quat, at least I think she did. I don't remember much past being new in the pack where I grew up since I was 10. He looks away in thought. And quat, what pack did you grow up in? And quat, he asks, like he may know it. Strange. Coming from a siren who should know nothing about the werewolf world other than he knocked up a she-wolf and created me, supposedly. And quat, Black Mountain Pack, and quat, I mutter, and his eyes snap to mine. He seems to stand a little straighter as he licks his lips and swallows hard. And quat, Black Mountain Pack, and quat, he whispers. And quat, with Alpha Bentley, and quat, yes, and quat, I murmur, surprised that he knows his name. And quat, how did you know? And quat, he clears his throat, looking away for a minute, before looking back, a tear slipping down his cheek. And quat, he is your uncle, and quat, he says, looking me in the eye. A bubble of laughter burst from my lips, my chest loosening with the action as I laugh at the absurdity. And quat, no, Alpha Bentley was my alpha. I served his daughter as a maid and they treated me like absolute garbage. He is not my uncle. And quat, his face falls, anger creeping back into his demeanor as he shuffles to his other foot. And quat, he treated you like a maid. And quat, he grits out and I watch him like he is a little unhinged. And quat, yes, but I mean, I am a maid, well, was. And quat, I tell him and he looks away, his jaw muscles rippling with effort as he clenches his teeth. And quat, you are a princess. And quat, he growls, and an alpha blood werewolf. You are no maid, even if he forced you to do maid-like things. You are royalty. And quat, I am not. And quat, I scoff. And quat, you don't even know you have the right person. You are just going to take his word for it. And quat, I can see so much of her in you. And quat, he whispers, reaching out to touch my face. I lean away. And quat, and my family as well. Do you have any powers? And quat, he asks. And quat, powers, and quat, I scoff. And quat, until recently, I hardly had a wolf that would show up. Because I was so weak. And quat, he nods. And quat, that makes sense. Your pack is nowhere near water. When you were little, you were so sick. Just a tiny little thing your mother had to be near water for you to thrive. How you must have suffered being so far from water for so long. And quat, I blink at him. His words striking something in me, something that feels like truth. A part of me that doesn't understand how he could know that innermost thought. And quat, how? And quat, I squeak out the question, not sure how to form the full sentence. And quat, you said it yourself, Colette. Water feels like home. And quat, that could all just be coincidence. And quat, I whisper, too afraid to hope for anything good in my life. The last thing amazing I had blew up in my face mere minutes ago. And quat, lots of people think water is relaxing and calm, and quat, and quat. I could tell you felt it differently, and quat, he says, and quat. I could see it in your eyes. It's why I thought you were catering to my good side, trying to wiggle your way onto the committee, and quat, and quat. But you said it yourself, your daughter died, and quat, and quat. I was wrong, and quat, he answers, looking hopeful. Or, now, and quat. I swallow, and quat. I think you are wrong now, and quat. He's not, and quat. I hear Merrick behind me and my hairs prickle with his closeness. I hate him, deep in my being. I can feel that anger rising again, and I spin to glare at him, and quat. I want answers, and quat. I glare and he nods, and quat. I suppose you both deserve them. But this is not the place, and quat. Merrick looks around like he is trying to find a spy, and quat. There is no one here we can trust, and quat. You can say that again, and quat. I snort. Merrick frowns, and quat. He is right, and quat. My supposed father says, suddenly looking nervous, and quat. Your mere existence is a threat to all species. If they find out what you are, they will kill you, my pearl, and quat. I blink at my father, his pet name echoing through my ears, speaking to my inner child, and I realize I have heard that name before. Been called it many times. Could he really be my father? Am I really a hybrid one so feared by the council that they tried to have me killed? I inhale sharply, then clear my throat, and quat. Fine. But I want every question I have answered. No holding back. I deserve the truth, or I will leave, and quat. Chapter 36. Merrick tugs shut the large bay window's curtains, looking around outside as before he turns to look at me. Caspian has all the lights on in his immense office of silver colors and various shades of blue, swirling along the walls like shimmering waves of the sea. It even has a salty smell, one that reminds me of a fresh warm breeze kicking up sand as you walk along the beach. It's annoyingly comforting while I try to remain angry and disagreeable. And quat. How is Percy? And quat. I ask, looking at the ground, playing with the fabric on the armchair from where I stand behind it. And quat. He is healing now, and quat. Merrick says, but I still ignore his presence. And quat. Brent has removed the spells that ban the use of powers for your kind, so you can contact him through the mind link if you are worried, and quat. Caspian says. His voice is soft, like he is trying to please me, to win me over. It only irritates me further. Perk. I call out to him through the mind link. Yes, Luna? How are you feeling? Are you finally healing, or do you at least have some relief and know what happened? My memory is foggy, but I have agreed to allow Brent to help me clear it once I am a little more healed. Rest. Okay. I need my shadow backup, and in order I tease and smile to myself. I've called for backup. Hayes is on his way with Penny, he tells me, and I furrow my brows, finally sliding a glance at Merrick. I want to be mad at him for not telling me they are coming, but it's hard to reason with the logic that he hasn't been alone with me long enough to tell me anything. I will come visit you after this meeting, I tell him, then I shut down the mind link, clearing my throat as I square my shoulders and push my hair over my shoulders. No more cowering or hiding my emotions. And no more damn tears. I am a Luna, and I will get my answers, and from there I will take my emotions back to my room and feel them without anyone else having to see it. There will be no more pity or sympathy or people thinking I am weak because I am experiencing or feeling things. I am a Luna, the damn queen. It's time I act like one. And quot, how did you meet my mother? And quot, I ask Caspian, catching him off guard as he clears his throat and drops into his seat. And quot, she was running away from her pack. And quot, he whispers, reaching for a leather strand on his desk and toying with it. And quot, your grandfather was tired of waiting for her to find her mate, so he arranged a marriage to another alpha. Obviously Melody wasn't too keen on that, and quot, my heart pinches when I hear her name. Those tears I swore I would hide away trying to creep up, but I push them down. Melody. My mom's name was Melody. And quot, did she stay with you then? And quot, I ask him and he chuckles. And quot, she wanted to. For as to live together but to live together, with what we are, it was hard. I have an entire underwater world to rule, and even with my royal blood, I can only remain out of the water for so long. And she is a werewolf. Water is not all that easy to breathe in for your kind. And quot. Then he pauses, looking at me curiously. And quot. What? And quot. I ask, my cheek heating under his assessing gaze. And quot. I am curious about what you can do, if anything. And quot. He whispers. And quot. Do you only have a wolf? Can you breathe underwater, manipulate water, control it with your emotions? And quot. And quot. She can draw people to her with songs. And quot. Merrick says, breaking in. And quot. I can? And quot. I ask, my brows rising. And quot. Yes. And quot. And quot. Explain. And quot. Caspian says, leaning forward in his chair. And quot. Bentley refused to let her sing, always telling her she couldn't carry a tune. That her singing was so awful it hurt people's ears. And quot. And quot. He knew. And quot. I whisper, my face heating in anger. She called me to her with her song. And quot. Merrick says, sliding his eyes to me as my mouth falls open. And quot. I what? And quot. And quot. In the healing waters, you called me. And quot. I blink at him, shocked. The memory floods back to me when I was in the healing waters, letting the water calm me as I sang the song I remembered from my childhood. The way Merrick appeared out of nowhere, in a trance, and like he couldn't stay away from me. It was like he needed me, had to have me. My chest tightens as I stare at him, realizing that it hadn't been him wanting me, but whatever weird powers I have and used through my song. And quot. And quot. I stutter, trying to swallow the sting of knowing I had tricked him into coming to me. That what I remember as being the beginning of something big between us was something I forced on him. And quot. A siren's song? And quot. Caspian asks, a smile breaking his lips as he watches me with pride. And quot. That is a special gift, though it is generally a song of death. And quot. And quot. It was a song Mom used to sing, I think. One about a mate and calling him home. And quot. I whisper, afraid to look at Merrick, even though I feel the pull to do so. It's as if I can sense his intense gaze, feel it like he is trying to see my innermost thoughts. And quot. Can you sing it? And quot. Caspian asks, his voice soft and full of emotion. I look up at him and then at Merrick, hating the thought of him touching me right now, knowing that singing it will only draw him closer. And quot. No. And quot. I rush out, making the decision to never again sing that song. And quot. I have no desire to call my mate sorry. And quot. And quot. Don't be. And quot. Caspian says, giving me a gentle smile. And quot. This is a lot to take in. You meeting a father you never had, the chance to mourn or know, and me seeing the daughter I thought I lost. And quot, I tilt my head. And quot, I thought you said hybrids like me couldn't exist, that my death was necessary. And quot, it was not my order that led to your mother's death or your discovery. I tried to hide you, coming back to you and your mother every few months. And quot, I frown, not fully believing him. And quot, how did you find out we were supposedly dead? And quot, I ask. And quot, our little cabin was burned. Nothing left. Just the necklace I made you with your mother and this. And quot, he holds up the small thin scrap of worn out leather in his hand. And quot, the remnants of the last thing I gave her. And quot, but you did nothing. And quot, I furrow my brow. And quot, you didn't try to find who supposedly killed us, or go to the council. And quot, I know who did it, which is why I refuse to ever let them on the council again, and your mere existence is a threat to the council. It would be telling them I broke our most coveted rule. I would have been kicked from the council, disgraced. And quot, oh my, that sounds so awful for you, almost as bad as being hunted and killed. And quot, I say, scowling at him as my stomach twists in painful knots. And quot, you hid. You are a coward who just accepted our death without trying to find out who the real culprit was. It's so easy to just blame the werewolves, which your mate was. Were you actually sad or relieved? And quot, losing you both broke me. And quot, he growls, throwing his chair back as he stands abruptly and leans over his desk toward me. And quot, you have no idea what it is to mourn the loss of a love you never knew you could feel and a child that meant everything to you. Knowing I failed, you both nearly killed me. And quot, nearly hardly seems like enough. And quot, I hiss, scowling at him. Finding my father is one thing. Knowing he overlooked things for fear of persecution because of what I am, it's heart-shattering. He couldn't accept me fully when I was around for him to love. What do I expect him to do now? My body tingles, my wolf growing angrier by the second as my emotions run over me, only feeding the pain and hurt that I have kept under wraps for years. Warm arms wrap around me as I sneer at the man supposed to be my father. His eyes looking around me, awe in them, before looking back at me. And quot, you need to calm down. And quot, Merrick whispers in my ear, the warmth of his breath fanning over my skin and making me shudder. And quot, I don't want to give in to his embrace to let him hold me and calm me the way he is, but I suddenly feel drained, like my essence is leaking from me one drip at a time, and I feel lightheaded, my eyes fluttering closed for a moment before I force them back open. And quot, what did you do to me? And quot, I ask, looking over my shoulder at Merrick, who scans my face with worry in his beautiful green eyes. Then I look past him, watching the water in the air floating above a vase, and the water aquarium as it warbles, and the fish all line the glass, every one of them looking out like they are waiting for a command. And quot, you are draining yourself. And quot, he whispers softly. And quot, you need to relax. And quot, says the assholes who lied to me. And quot, I mumble, taking his advice anyway as I allow myself to focus on something different. I have a family. Like him or not, respect him or not, I'm not entirely alone in this world, and he can give me answers about my mom, if I can keep my cool long enough to get his answers. Chapter 37. Merrick. Colette paces our bedroom floor, back and forth and back again, her hands in her hair and her lips moving as she wordlessly speaks to herself. After realizing she can manipulate water, she ran. She claimed she needed space, and perhaps she did. But maybe it was her father's proud look or my hovering over her that made her feel like she was suffocating instead. No matter what the cause, I chased her. It took some convincing for her to let me in the room, but when she did, I nearly crumbled at the look on her face. My Luna is falling apart and I'm the reason for it. It is my selfishness over and over again that has pushed her to her breaking point, and now I have to witness the aftermath. This is my punishment, witnessing the havoc of my choices. Even if I have combined myself, it was all for our kind. And quat, Colette, and quat. I call to her softly, trying to get her to look at me. To just acknowledge I am here and she isn't alone in this. Even though I was the idiot who placed this barrier between us. I can't help but go back and forth on what I did and the ways I could have done it all differently. I used her and I know it, but in the process, I fell for her and the lies became my way of protecting myself. It is clear to me now, she is the one who needed protecting from me, not the other way around. And quat, how long have you known? And quat, she asks, coming to a stop. Her eyes wild. Then she points to the couch where Percy sleeps with a soft snore. And quat, did he? No. And quat, no. Percy did not know. And quat, I frown, and quat, but I have known since before I ever met you. And quat, her eyes well and she bites her lip, refusing to let the sob I can see coming out. And quat, you didn't come to my pack for Leslie, did you? And quat, she whispers. My eyes fill with tears as she breaks down every moment from the second she ever laid eyes on me. I know what is coming, what questions she will ask and all the answers I will give that she will doubt in every way. I feel defeated, fucking beat down as my heart rails against my aching chest, just wanting to be in her arms. Colette paces our bedroom floor, back and forth and back again, her hands in her hair and her lips moving as she wordlessly speaks to herself. After realizing she can manipulate water, she ran. She claimed she needed space and perhaps she did, but maybe it was her father's proud look or my hovering over her that made her feel like she was suffocating instead. No matter what the cause, I chased her. It took some convincing for her to let me in the room, but when she did, I nearly crumbled at the look on her face. My Luna is falling apart and I'm the reason for it. It is my selfishness over and over again that has pushed her to her breaking point, and now I have to witness the aftermath. This is my punishment, witnessing the havoc of my choices. But even if I have, it was all for our kind. And quat, I did not. And quat, I clear my throat and shake my head slightly from side to side before I look at her. Her red, swollen gaze is trained on me. And quat, I came for you. Leslie was a way to get close. And quat, but you knew who I was before you met me. And quat, she asks, rogue tears breaking free as she swipes it away and crosses her arms. Her leg rocks from side to side, a movement done to distract herself. And quat, yes. And quat, I nod. And quat, I have spies in every pack. And quat, you knew how I was being treated. And quat, she whispers, pain in her eyes. And quat, you knew, and you let me suffer. And quat, no. And quat, I jump up, hands outstretched. I want to touch her. Shit, I crave the honor to wipe the very tears from her cheeks that my actions placed there. But I know better than to think she would let me touch her. And quote, in the recent months leading up to coming, that is when I learned what you were in the pack. I had thought it was a ruse to keep you inconspicuous. And quote, you are the lycan king. You could have come and demanded me. Why the show? And quote, she asks, incredulous. And quote, I don't understand why. You had to force me to being your Luna. Why? You had to trick me into thinking I could be anything other than what I am. You could have asked me to do anything with the promise of freedom from what my life was. And quote, Colette, you are my mate. You are meant to be at my side, meant to be the Luna. She scoffs, rolling her eyes. And quote, and I'm a hybrid that shouldn't even exist. One you could use to get what you wanted. Let's not pretend you cared anything for me or my feelings. And quote, she bites back at me. And quote, you were born to be my Luna. And quote, I tell her more adamantly and she shakes her head. And quote, I was never going to go through with my mating to Leslie. The plan was to take you. But the moment I knew what you were to me, I panicked and all I could think about was making sure that you can't run from me. And quote, you took away my options. And quote, she yells. And quote, you realized what I was, and you knew what I am worth and you were worried I would freak out. So you trapped me. Admit it. And quote, I love you. And quote, I growl. And quote, damn, Colette, I fucking fell for you within days. It wasn't because of the bond, and I didn't realize that until I forced the oath. I have wanted to tell you everything. I have fucked up in every way possible except for falling for you. And for that, I won't apologize. And quote, she falls silent, looking out the window, her lungs rising and falling as if she had been running for hours. And quote, I think I hate you. I really. And quote, she pauses, looking at me, her tears flow freely as she holds her chest and gasps for air like it is being sucked from her. And quote, damn it, I want to hate you with every fiber of my being, but I can't. And quote, what? And quote, I blink at her, shocked. I was ready for a breakdown, come to the goddess moment. But this brokenness while admitting despite it all. Despite me and my actions, she can't hate me. It's enough to give me hope where hope shouldn't have a place to even plant a seed. Yet, it grows, winding through my gut, squeezing as it climbs through my chest and lodges in my throat, keeping me from saying anything further. And quote, I want to. And quote, her voice breaks, and she shakes her head. And quote, but when I hurt, I want to be near you. When I am scared, I want you to hold me. Damn it, Merrick. Damn you and your stupid trust issues and telling me you love me and for making me fucking love you back. And quote, you still love me. And quote, I rasp the words, my mouth dry. What is happening? She loves me. And quote, of course I do. And I hate you for it. And quote, she hisses. And quote, I hate that even when I want to run from you, I can't. I hate that you keep pushing me away in the most selfish and painful ways possible. And quote, I am sorry. And quote, I tell her, taking a step closer. And quote, I am so fucking sorry. And quote, and damn it, do I mean it? My lycan is whimpering, begging for her forgiveness, for her to fucking touch us, yet fearing it because I know I'll fall apart in her hands. And quote, it's not enough. And quote, she shakes her head. And quote, It's not enough to say you are. Sorry, not this time. And quat. My hands shake, my lips dry as my tongue darts out to wet them, and I try again to move closer. I just need to touch her, to feel her skin, press her to my chest, and inhale her. It feels worse than death waiting for her to speak, to send me away or to embrace me. And quat. I will do anything. And quat. The words tumble out as I drop to knees, my head bowed down. And quat. Name your price, punish me for as long as you wish and need to. And quat. I don't budge as I place the ball in her court. Never have I knelt before anyone, never have I begged for forgiveness. But then again, never have I loved someone and fucked it up. Lauren was different. Lauren broke me. So I destroyed her. Colette. She saved me, in so many ways, and yet I served her a fate that too. Her is worse than death. And quat. Merrick, stand up, and quat. She whispers, but I remain resolute. Her hands touch my cheeks and I gasp at the contact that feels like heaven. She lifts my chin so I am looking up at her and she frowns, though her tears are still running down her cheek. And quat. Please, and quat. She sniffles, and quat. You are the lycan king, you shouldn't be on your knees begging, and quat. Our eyes connect and I reach around, clasping my hands together behind my back. Settling in to kneel for as long as I need to. And quat. I am many things other than a lycan king. I am a liar and a fool, but for you, my little Luna, for you, I am a beggar. I am where I always belonged, and quat, and quat. Where is that? And quat, she asks, breathless. And quat,
Chapter 38.
At your mercy,
And
Colette POVI stare at Merrick on his knees, my chest aching as I fight the urge to forgive him. Simple gestures and sweet words will not fix what he did. How he lied and used me like everyone else. There is too much to process, too much for me to even begin to know how to comprehend. For me to even take the time to consider forgiving him is insane. And quat. I need space and quat. I whisper, taking a small hesitant step back. My wolf whines, not giving a shit about the emotional turmoil I am in. But she isn't in charge. I am, and right now I need water and space. I turn my heel, moving to the bathroom and turning on the water for the tub when I hear someone at the door. The low hum of deep voices piques my interest as I slide to the door, pressing my ear to the solid oak, hoping to catch a part of the conversation. As werewolves, we are supposed to have excellent hearing. Me being me, and as sickly as I have always been, my hearing has always been very lackluster. Until now, that is. I smile to myself, pleased to find more things I can do now that I am. Well, I guess now that I know who I am and what I can be capable of. And quat. What do you mean you don't know who attacked him? And quat. Merrick hisses. And quat. Merrick, I assure you we are doing everything we can to get answers, but, and quat. Caption pauses before he clears his throat. And quat. We have a more pressing issue to discuss. And quat. And quat. What is more pressing than your security measures failing? And quat. And quat. The reason for attacking your gamma. And quat. Caspian says firmly. There is a pause between them, tension rising as if they are both having a silent conversation, but I know what they are both thinking. I twist the doorknob, opening. And quat. The door, and I step out, looking at both men. And quat. They are trying to get easier access to me. And quat. I finish for them both. Merrick looks at me, a storm of fury clouding his face as he moves to me. And quat. As long as I'm fucking here, there will be no easy access to you. Ever. and quot. His words are sweet and I believe every word, but I roll my eyes to show my anger, even if my heart skips a beat at his declaration. There is no way in hell I will let him off easy with just words and apologies, and quot. Someone else knows what I am, and quot. I tell Caspian, whose eyebrows hit his hairline. He slides a glance at Merrick, who fights the urge to glare at me. Obviously, Merrick didn't want my father to know about that, so I take extra pleasure in telling him. And quot. Who? And quot. Caspian asks, his voice rising. Then he seems to think of something and he furrows his brows. And quot. The red-eyed wolves that you mentioned. You believe the person controlling them is the one behind all of this, and quot. And quot. We don't know who exactly, and quot. Merrick says, clearing his throat. And quot. I just know someone here on the council wanted us to be here this year, and they are taunting us. They have been trying to get her nearly the whole time she has been with me, and quot. And quot. Fuck, and quot. Caspian paces away, his hands on his hips before he stops. And quot. If someone knows, do they know she is mine? Do you think they know she is my daughter? And quot. I look at Merrick, who sighs. And quot. Truthfully, I don't know what they know. I just know they are after Colette. The first time I didn't think it was any different from the times other species have come after me for the hell of it. But then the Dreamweavers happened and quot. And you realized just how fucking dumb you were, and quot. Caspian growls. And quot. You taking her as your mate verified exactly how important she is. You placed a fucking target on her back, and quot. And quot. I know being a hybrid is not allowed, and it makes me rare, but what does keeping me do? Why not just kill me if they know I am not allowed to exist? And quot. And quot. There are a couple of reasons, and quot. Caspian sighs, pacing into the room and dropping into a chair. He leans forward like he is in deep thought, and pressing his elbow into his knees. And quot. One being you are mated to a royal blood, and quot. Merrick says, dragging his hand down his face. And quot. Illegal or not, you are protected by me, and all of our kind. You are our queen, and harming you means war, and quot. The other being, you can be used to control 2 species now, not just one. By choosing you as a mate, Merrick has placed not only his species in danger, but mine as well, and quot. And quot. I didn't choose her. She is my second chance. Mate, and quot. Merrick hisses. I watch him as he scowls at Caspian before his emerald eyes find mine, a gentle pleading hidden within them before he turns away. And quot. Are you truly mated, and quot? Caspian asks. And quot. I am well aware of what you said at the dinner table. But, and quot, we are not truly marked yet, and quot. Merrick admits, and my cheeks turn pink. This is not the type of conversation I want to have with the man who helped create me. And quot. Why, and quot? He asks, flabbergasted, as he looks back and forth between the two of us. And quot. We have our own things we are sorting through, and quot. I mumble and he sighs. And quot. If you are found out, if it's revealed what you are before you are back on the committee, then you are dead, and quot. Caspian admits, a quiver in his voice. And quot. You must be officially mates in order, and quot. And quot. We have time, and quot. Merrick says softly, his eyes locked on mine like he wants me to know that I don't have to rush into this, especially when I am angry with him. And quot. No, and quot. Caspian says, standing abruptly. And quat. You absolutely do not have time. Do you really think anyone bought my mark is somewhere special? Bullshit, and quat, Caspian, and quat. I sigh, and quat. No. I am serious. You will fucking mark each other now, and quat, My mouth falls open and Merrick bites back a laugh as Caspian looks between us, annoyed, and quat. Marking for lycans is different from werewolves. And quat. I say, swallowing. Roughly. My skin heated in embarrassment. No matter how new he is to being my father, the last thing I want to do is explain to him that he is demanding I have sex with Merrick right here, right now. And quat. It can't possibly be that different. And quat. He scoffs, and I look away, avoiding any eye contact with both men. And quat. Clearly you weren't listening too closely at dinner the other night, and quat. I mutter and Merrick bites back a smile. And quat. Colette and I will figure out the details of our relationship in our own time, Caspian. But yes, I do agree it is important that we figure things out relatively soon, and quat. If you guys are going to mark each other tonight, please remember to put me outside the door, and quat. Percy's weak voice breaks into the conversation, and I rush over to him, pleased by the interruption. And quat. Hey, and quat. I whisper, smiling at him. And he tries to reciprocate. And quat. You hungry? And quat. I ask him. And quat. No, and quat. He croaks out, trying to sit up. And quat. Whoa. No way. Lay back down. What can I do? What do you need? And quat. I ask. Him and Merrick comes over standing behind me. And quat. Unless you want to help me to the bathroom. Luna, perhaps it's best you let me do this one on my own. And quat. Oh. And quat. I clear my throat, standing to move out of his way. We watch as he stumbles to the bathroom, using the wall and turning to give me a thumbs up before he pauses at the door and frowns at the ground. And quat. I know. I got the shit kicked out of me, but did I suffer any brain damage? And quat. He asks, looking at us, concerned. And quat. No. Why? And quat. Because there is a shit ton of water all over the floor in here and I just needed to make sure I'm not crazy. And quat. Oh, shit. And quat. I rush Totty. Bathroom, peeking past him as guilt floods me like the water pouring over the bathtub's edge and onto the floor. I got distracted by Caspian coming in. Then the water lifts, every drop riding from the tile and the sopping wet carpet at my feet. In a long clear line, floods down the sink and their tub is unplugged. Percy elbows me, his throat bobbing up and down. And quat. Why you see that shit? Too. Right. And quat. He asks and I nod, biting back a laugh. And quat. Yeah, I see it. And quat. I mutter, before looking over my shoulder at my father. He stands next to the bed, his hands in his pockets, looking entirely at ease. The only indication that this is him is the way his eyes seem to swirl with a vibrant blue. He shoots me a wink and a soft smile. After he is done cleaning up my mess, I realize I haven't stopped staring at him. And he has returned the sentiment. Train me. And quat. I finally say. He tilts his head, a little confused. And quat. Train me how to manipulate it like you do. And quat. I wouldn't know how to train you. My kind just knows how to do it. We are one with the water. It's not a gift. It's a part of us. And quat. then teach me how to be one with it, and quot, I rush out, and quot, if you want me safe, if you want to ensure no one can harm me, then guide me in this. Merrick has been training me too, and quot. He frowns before he nods in agreement. Chapter 39. Merrick leans into me, his arm resting on the back of my chair as we listen to everyone on the committee speak. Florence has looked my way a few times, smirking every time I catch her eyes. I intentionally avoid looking in Johanna's direction, not wanting to risk Merrick catching me looking at him of all people. Not that I am drawn to Johannes, but pretending he doesn't exist isn't all that easy in a room full of people I supposed to be respecting. And quot, is there anything anyone else would like to bring up? And quot, Caspian asks, looking around. He has pulled off the unimpressed king bit damn well today, not once looking in our direction with the slightest interest. And quot, yes, and quot, Brent says, clearing his throat. And quot, I don't mean to be a spoilsport, but I am curious why these two are allowed in meetings. And quot, he nods in our direction with an unimpressed frown on his face. And quot, oh great, here we go again. And quot, everyone mutters, sighing in heavy annoyance. And quot, no, I am serious. And quot, he scoffs. And quot, I don't mean to be rude or offensive, Merrick and Letty, but if we are sharing things, important things between our species, should we not be taking measures to ensure what is shared won't be used against us? And quot, I tilt my head, not really loving that I agree with him. But Brent makes a fair point. And it's not a decision intended to offend or be rude. It's logical that if we are the enemy, we shouldn't be privy to all information agreed upon in the meeting. He locks eyes with me, a curious glint as he seems to watch me closely. I look up at Merrick, who stares around the table, his jaw clenched and his muscles tense. My fingers glide up his chest, along his soft neck and to turn him to look at me. And quot, Brent does make a fair point. And quot, I murmur to him and he frowns, glancing up, before looking back and focusing on me. Then he sighs heavily and nods. And quot, my Luna feels that perhaps Brent has a point. And quot, he announces, and I can feel all eyes shift to me. And quot, oh, does he? And quot, Caspian asks, his interest looking piqued as he seems to settle deeper into his chair, his deep blue eyes watching me closely. And quot, you are all so adamant to keep us from entering the council. And quot, I shrug. And quot, yet so willing to allow us audience and witness of what you discuss. Things that are of grave importance to your covens, your clans, your whatever they are to you. Which leaves the question, why don't you care? And quot, we aren't afraid of some little bitches and dogs. You are below us. In fact, your kind is better under us. And quot, Johannes chuckles and I turn my fiery gaze on him. He glares at me, but I remain resolute, not daring to blink as make my point. And quot, I think you all know we will be back on the council sooner rather than later and there. For speak openly. And quot, I say with a knowing smirk. And quot, bullshit. And quot, Florence chuckles. And quot, you would have to win over the majority, and most of us hate you. And quot, yeah, that sounds like a stretch, young lady. And quot, the bearded guy from the first dinner says, leaning forward. And quot, I don't think I have had the pleasure of learning your name yet. And quot, I say to him. And he frowns at me before sighing. And quot, my people call me Elm. I am from the Fey realm, and quot, he says, giving me a courteous nod, and quot, and tell me, Elm, what do you have against the werewolves, and quot, I ask him, and quot, I am aware of why Caspian hates Outkind and even why Johannes feels the way he does, even if he is the one who inserted himself and got his own chosen mate killed, and quot, Elm chuckles as Johannes snorts at my comment, and quot, Merrick, you have not filled her in on your bloodline's crimes, and quot, he tuts before looking at me, and quot, his ancestors were what your kind calls mates, with my sister, a young fay with a bright future ahead of her, and quot, your kind lives that long, and quot, I ask, leaning forward, fascinated by his story and his kind. If this all supposedly happened over 250 years ago, how long do the Fae live? Are they immortal like the vampires? And quot, of course, your species is the one that lives the shortest amount of time. We hardly have time to learn your name before you die off on us. And quot, can we be done with this meeting now? And quot, Florence pouts while I focus on Elm, blocking out the others as they all get up and leave the table. Where is your sister now? And quot, I ask him, and sadness falls over him. He downcast his eyes and sighs before looking up to meet mine. And quot, she is dead, and quot, he whispers. I don't know much about any species other than mine, but if Elm is still alive after 250 years and still looks like he is in his mid-30s, his sister can't have died from old age. And quot, I am truly sorry for your loss. And quot, I tell him sincerely, offering him a sympathetic smile. And quot, losing someone you love is never easy. I lost my mother at a young age, and I know it is not the same. But I know what it is to lose someone you loved. And quot, he watches me for a moment, then he places his palm on the wooden table. The grain morphs, moving as it vibrates, and then a small bud shoots out of the table before me. There is no holding back the astonished smile and happy gasp I let out as I gingerly touch the bud, admiring it. And quot, her name was Magnolia. And quot, he whispers. And quot, she took her life when she felt his presence leave the earth. And quot, she loved him even when she couldn't be with him. And quot, I whisper, touched by the purity of her love. And quot, Mag's love different from everyone else. She was a lover of everyone, and she felt this bond was a gift to her. And quot, he says with a tear in his eye. And quot, Elm, and quot, I say with a soft smile. And quot, would you like to wander the garden with me? And quot, I ask him. He seems to snap from his daze, his tender openness dissipating as he looks around. I gently take the bud from the table where he created it, and place it behind my ear, giving him an understanding smile. And quot, what kind of flower is it? And quot, I ask him, and he swallows. And quot, magnolia blossom. And quot, you know. And quot, I say. And quot, when I was in the garden, I swear I saw a tree that was lifeless. If I showed you the tree, do you think you could heal it? Is that something Fae can do? And quot, not all Fae, but I can. Yes. And quot, he says. And quot pauses, looking at Merrick. You wanted to show me the way, I would not be opposed. But, and quot, he, and quot, you wish for me to keep my distance. And quot, Merrick asks as Elm frowns. And quot, as you know, I will not leave her unattended since our gamma was brutally attacked on property. And quot, ah. Yes, he nods. and quat, I suppose you will want to keep her within arm's reach at all times. I can understand that. And quat, shall we? And quat, I offer, and he sighs before nodding and motioning for me to show him the way. The moment we hit the garden, I can sense his tension leaving his body. He smiles and reaches out, touching the green hedges and looking around at the stunning flowers and bright green leaves. And quat, this way, and quat, I tell him, turning down a path to the left, and he follows along, Merrick at a distance behind us. And quat, you can be frank? And quat, he tells me, and quat, no need to keep up pretenses. And quat, I laugh lightly and shake my head. And quat, I truly have no ulterior motives, Elm. And quat, you aren't going to try to sway my vote or get me to trust you. And quat, he asks, his eyes narrowed like I am lying. I once again laugh, this time a little harder. And quat, I am hardly one to ask for trust when I can't trust a damn soul here, other than my own kind, that is. And quat, I smile at him, and he seems to think about what I am saying. And quat, and as for swaying your vote, what good is trying to change one vote in the face of what? 9 no's. And quat, I think you could sway a few others. And quat, he says, chuckling. And quat, let's not pretend you aren't here to show a softer side to your off-putting mate. And quat, I glance over my shoulder, looking at the massive form that is Merrick, and bite back a smile. He definitely doesn't scream, let's be friends to someone who doesn't know him. But underneath, though, he screws up regularly and has trust issues. He's pretty amazing. And quat, truthfully, I didn't even know there were other species until very recently. I want to know you all, understand you and your stance on why my kind should be subject to being the toy of council members when they get bored. And quat, oh come now, no one here is like that. And quat, no, not Johannes. And quat, I ask. And quat, because from what I can tell, what he did is far worse than what our kind did. Only difference is you all made it legal to prey on us but not allow us to protect ourselves. And quat, I play no part in keeping your species out. I abstain from voting now. Even if I don't like your kind, I believe we are all stringer together. And quat, he rushes out, and I shrug. And quat, Elm, I am here to show you a tree that needs your touch. And quat, I smile. And quat, we do not have to discuss these things. And quat, then what would you rather discuss? And quat, he asks, and I grin. And quat, well, tell me more about the Fae. What are you all like? Do you all have such a way with nature like you? And quat, have you learned about any of the others yet? And quat, he asks amused. I shrug. And quat, I know a little about the sirens, and I've experienced some magic, not quite sure at whose hands it was. And quat, I shrug. He frowns. And quat, someone used magic on you? And quat, he asks, sounding disappointed. And quat, unfortunately, not many people like my mate. Not that I can't, at times, understand the sentiment. And quat, I watch as Merrick's head snaps up, his eyes meeting mine with a glare, and I send him a pretty little smile and a tiny hand wave, just so he knows I'm thinking about him. And quat, what kind of magic do you know? And quat, he asks, and I shrug. And quat, Merrick called it dreamweavers. And quat, nasty stuff. And quat, he mumbles. Then he looks around and leans in. And quote, I have an herbal remedy that can erase the things they have done. I will have it sent to your room. And quote, you really don't have to do that. And quote, I say, shocked, and he smiles genuinely. And quote, I can tell you are a decent person. And quote, he says, pointing over my shoulder. And quote, butterflies like sweetness, and they seem to follow you. And quote, I can't help the blush that creeps up my cheek, and he rubs the back of his head. And quote, my queen would truly enjoy your presence. You are wise, playing this old man like a fiddle, but in a way that I can tell you mean no harm. And quote, could she not make it? And quote, I ask, feeling disappointed as well that I don't get to at least meet a female fae. And quote, not this time. And quote, he smiles, but it doesn't reach his eyes this time. Instead, he looks disappointed and I get the feeling not everything is sorted in his love life. Chapter 40. Merrick. Colette laughs with her father as I sit in the far corner, watching as she wipes water from her blouse. She looks so happy and at ease as she manipulates the water, trying to get it to shake, rather than splash. Caspian was thrilled when we arrived, his hands shaky as he tried to tamp down his smile, but it's glaringly obvious he is excited. If I didn't know that they were related, I would almost be jealous. Okay, that's a lie. I am jealous, but not of the relationship they are building. She looks at him with wonder and relief. It's like knowing a part of what she is, where she comes from, has brought to life a side of her I may never get to experience. All I get are sideways glances and the occasional scowl. I mean, sure, when we are around the others I get to sneak little moments and convince myself she feels the same pull I do. It's damn hard holding her hand or kissing her shoulder knowing that to her it's an act. For me, it's a taste of what I screwed myself out of. Like an addict carrying in drug of choice in his pocket with never really being able to consume it. It makes me itchy and irritable to be away from her emotionally. That barrier she keeps up. The damn thing slides into place the second our bedroom door closes. It goes from equator hot to Arctic icy. And it's not like I know how to fix it. Apologizing is all I can do and swear I will never do it again, and that I have no more secrets, but what good is a promise if the person making it has proven they can't keep them? I sigh heavily, fiddling with the bolting on the edging of the armchair, and then I look up, feeling a heavy gaze. She blinks at me, tilting her head, and for a moment her brows furrow, like she might be worried about me. Then she seems to wake up and her eyes harden before she looks back at Caspian. And quote, I think that's enough for now. I have to admit, I'm tired now. And quote, she says. He gives her a soft smile and motions for her to take a seat. And quote, will you stay for dinner with me? And quote, he asks, and she shakes her head. And quote, the amount of time we spend together will draw attention. And quote, I remind him, and he sighs knowingly. And quote, you have a point. And quote, then he looks between us. And quote, have you two discussed things yet? And quote, Colette chuckles dryly, looking at the shuttered window and shaking her head. And quote, what is there to discuss? And quote, she asks, and her words hit me in the gut. Is this how she felt every time I would refuse to hear her out? And quote, your mark. And quote, he says, giving her a pointed frown. And quote, or rather, the lack thereof. And quote, Caspian. And quote, she sighs, rolling her eyes, and she chuckles. And quote, Do not roll your eyes at me, and quot, he mutters, but he is half-hearted, as he smiles brightly. And quot, I didn't think I would ever get to say that to you, and quot. Colette seems to melt at his words, all frustration regarding me fading away as she takes in this little yet huge moment with her dad. A knock at the door interrupts us and Ezra shows himself in, giving me a courteous nod as he looks to Caspian. And quot, we have a few visitors, and quot, he tells him, and Caspian furrows his brow. And quot, I don't recall expecting anyone. And quot, oh, and quot. Colette seems startled, and looks over at me and clears her throat. And quot, I believe they are here for me. And quot, I look at her, startled, and then she smiles softly at Ezra. And quot, yes, I assumed as much. And quot, he grins. And quot, I have showed both Penny and Beta Hayes to your room. And quot, ah, and quot, Caspian says, clearing his throat. He looks in my direction and sighs heavily. And quot, I suppose that in light of the recent unfortunate events to your other gamma, another arriving in his stead makes sense. And quot, will the others not throw a fit? And quot, I ask, arching a brow, and he shrugs. And quot, let them. Someone was attacked in our sanctuary, and you are entitled to your own safety for that reason. And quot, he bites out, looking up at Ezra, who looks mildly surprised. And quot, thank you, Caspian. And quot, I say, standing and moving over toward Colette. I rest my hand on the back of her chair, looking down at her. She turns in her seat, looking up at me slightly, and my heart stutters in my chest. Her deep brown eyes gaze straight in to my very core. I can feel the slight tinge of heat in my cheeks that her innocent stare brings, but I can't find the strength to look away. And quot, forgive me, but how was someone able to attack anyone on the premises? And quot, Ezra asks, drawing my attention and breaking my eye contact with Colette. His words are soft and directed at Caspian, who frowns and sighs heavily. And quot, they physically assaulted him, Ezra. No magic was used. And quot, he says, then he drags an hand down his face as he leans forward. And quot, since no magic can be used, he was unable to heal as a wolf regularly would. I had Brent take down the charms until her is better. And quot, Ezra freezes, his eyes skirting over to me before he clears his throat and bows his head. I can see he wants to say more, to mention things, but with being a messenger, often his opinions and thoughts are disregarded. But in all my years knowing the guy, I have felt he has an impressive ability to read and anticipate situations and people. And quot, what are you thinking? And quot, I ask him. And he shakes his head, not wanting to overstep. And quot, speak freely, Ezra. I trust these two. And quot, Caspian says. And it feels like I was struck across the face to wake me up. Caspian trusts us. Well, I suppose trusting his daughter makes sense. But admitting it to someone else is shocking, to say the least. Colette's hand slides into mine and gives it a gentle squeeze, as if she understands my exact thought process. And quot, do you? And quot, Ezra asks, a brow arched in amusement. Caspian frowns at him before he rolls his eyes, then clears his throat. And quot, I am well aware of the things you are capable of learning and overhearing, so I am curious to know your thoughts about all of this, including my newfound trust in these two. And quot, Caspian says, choosing to ignore Ezra's comment. about trusting us, and I have long respected alphanumeric, and he asserts, and Caspian sighs. Yeah, I am well aware of that, and Ezra clears his throat, looking a little uncomfortable, before he squares his shoulders. And I am often given things to deliver, and I move about quickly and with ease, but not without running into things, seeing things, and he finally says, looking me in the eye like he is trying to tell me something. And there have been some questionable things happening in the world up here that I do not pretend to think you, the king of sirens, know about. And Caspian knits his brows together in question and motions for him to continue. And there is a move to make extinct other kinds, and he says softly and looks away, ashamed. And and you are just now bringing this up, and I ask him, shocked. Ezra's face pales, and he licks his lips as if mentioning anything more might cause him pain. And I am forbidden from reading or looking at the items I deliver, but, and he clears his throat. And if a letter does not have a sender's information, only a destination, and tell me now, and Caspian says, his voice raising as he stands. And I have delivered 3 of the same letters. Same handwriting and no return address, the same handwriting on the letter I delivered to you, Merrick, and he says, turning to look at me. Caspian looks between us as my stomach burns with fury. Things have felt off for years now, but when you are used to a feeling, it becomes normal, and when it's gone, that is when it feels foreign. I suck my teeth, groaning in frustration. Someone is after my kind. Of course. Who the hell else could they be after? And what did you read? Ezra, and Caspian demands, slamming his fist onto the top of his desk, his eyes swirling with danger. And there is a call for extermination. One that will be voted upon in the next week, and I will never allow that on the docket, and he retorts, and Ezra frowns. And from what I gather, if multiple parties call attention to it, it must be discussed, and shit, and Colette mutters, her muscles tense as she comes to grips with all this means. It's not just an attack on me, but our entire species. The whole reason someone has been wanting Colette is a bargaining chip for Caspian. She is a hybrid, so she must die unless she is fully mated to me. But if they agree to my demise, our kind's extermination. Her head is back on the chopping block. How far will Caspian go to protect his only child? Would he trade our entire kind for the promise of her safety? A hybrid for an entire species. He locks his eyes with mine, and I see his mindset is where mine is, but he doesn't seem to know the answer to his own question. Colette would never agree to it, but it is easier to live knowing your child hates you than live knowing they will forever be gone. And we need to go see Hayes and Penny, and Colette jumps up, dragging me out the door before anyone can utter another word. It is not until we are safe behind the door that she spins to face me, determination on her face. And we can use this, and she tells me. And we can use this to determine who is behind it. How many do you think would actually truly want to kill off an entire species? I mean, truly, and I sigh, pulling my hands through my hair before I drop them. And that is a complicated question, Colette. We are truly unliked by many. And I tell her. And please, we can charm as many over as we need, and I hear haze behind me and I spin, feeling like a weight has been lifted from my chest at the sight of my brother. And quote, easier said than done, and quote, I say with a small smile. And quote, please, me and you? We are the definition of charming, and quote, he says, then frowns. And quote, okay, I am the definition of charming, maybe you should sit this one out, and quote.